This first mistake, I see it all the time, and I'm willing to bet the majority of you have never even thought about it. In fact, when you look at it up close, unless you know what you're looking for, it's hard to see. But from a distance, getting this wrong can completely ruin your silhouette. What's the mistake I'm talking about? Your shoulder seam dropping past your shoulder bone. In case you didn't know, on pretty much any shirt, jacket, or sweater, at the garment's shoulder point is going to be a shoulder seam. This is where the sleeve is attached to the torso. Now in sweaters, it's less visible. Shirts, pretty easy to spot. In jackets, especially structured jackets, the shoulder seam is obvious. But most guys don't know if your shoulder seam drops more than an inch past your shoulder bone, it can actually distort your silhouette by distorting the profile of your shoulders. In a nutshell, it can make your shoulders look narrow, give you a less masculine build. All of this can affect your confidence, it can affect your aura, what you bring into a room. And the worst part is if you're a bigger guy, if you've got some extra weight around the midsection, if you've got a pear-shaped body, you got wider hips, well, unfortunately, most off-the-rack shirts, in order to fit you in the waist, well, you can easily end up buying way too big in the shoulders. And that leads me to the next style mistake, your sleeves covering half of your hand. Now this error I put right next to that other one because they usually go hand in hand. The shoulder points are extended and the sleeves therefore go way too long. Now the good news about this one is it can be an easy fix, especially if you are wearing a jacket or a sweater over that shirt. All you have to do is to adjust the button and make sure that the sleeve fits snugly around the wrist and therefore it doesn't extend out over the hand. And getting back to that shirt, if you did want to wear it by itself and you didn't want to have a whole bunch of bunching on the sleeves, you can actually take it to a tailor and they can remove some of the excess fabric. But in my opinion, if it's got that shoulder issue as well, I would simply donate that shirt and find one that fits you better. Next up, let's talk about contrast and leg line. So look at this picture right here. You've got a guy with a little bit of weight around the midsection, and what are we being drawn to? Well, it's obvious, right? His midsection, the contrast right there in the belt. So in a perfect world, we all would have ideal bodies that we are happy with. But the reality is a lot of us are works in progress, and therefore what I encourage is that you wear clothing that allows you to put your best foot forward. Clothing should not draw attention to areas maybe that you're not confident about. And gentlemen, that's why I encourage you when you're putting an outfit together, look at where are the eyes going to be drawn. Because as you can see here, by simply changing the color of the belt, all of a sudden we've affected the contrast of the outfit and our eyes go up and down versus being focused on the midsection. And by the way, another trick with this is just to make sure that your belt in general matches your trousers. And by that, I'm not saying they have to exactly match, I'm talking more contrast. Because whenever your belt works with your trousers, it helps to lengthen the leg line versus if it more closely matches the shirt, it's going to lengthen your torso, which for most men is not the look we're going for. Now, speaking of belts, gents, if you're in the market for a great belt, check out today's sponsor, Anson Belt and Buckle. Gents, straight up, for over a decade, I have been recommending Anson Belt and Buckle for 3 reasons. First up, it's an amazing family-owned business. They treat their customers like family, and I love supporting and sending you guys over to a company that will take care of you if there's anything you need. Next up, let's talk about the innovation of their micro-adjust technology. You see, Anson Belt and Buckle is working to make the belt hole obsolete. Because if you own a belt that uses holes, you know that they get all types of creases on them, they start to deform, and they can only be adjusted every inch. Versus Anson Belt and Buckle's micro-adjust technology can be adjusted every quarter inch, therefore it's more comfortable. And finally, let's talk about interchangeability. All of their straps work with all of their buckles. Therefore, not 3 belts here, 9 different combinations. Gents, you guys know how I love interchangeability, the idea to own less, get more out of it, get more combinations. And because their belts are cut to fit, it doesn't matter if you got a 25-inch waist or a 50-inch waist. When you buy an Anson belt, it is going to fit, and all of their products come in beautiful packaging, beautiful boxes. So if you wanted to make this a gift, well, you're not going to beat their presentation, their packaging, their overall versatility. Guys, this is why I love Anson Belt and Buckle. And they're just functional, great value belts. And by the way, if you're into the pattern of ostrich, you really like it, they actually now have an ostrich pattern right there on the website. I've got some of them. They are absolutely beautiful. And check out the new buckle styles. And if you're looking to buy a belt today, the best deal by far is their box set, which depending on how you want to configure it, comes with 3 straps and 2 buckles or 3 buckles and 2 straps. But you can also customize that come with 3 straps, 3 buckles. That's what I recommend starting out with. So guys, get over to Anson Belt and Buckle. I'm putting a link in the description. Use this link. Go check them out. We'll make sure you get the best deal on the web. I've met the owners in person multiple times, so I can vouch for this product. I was buying it before they actually sponsored me, guys. Highly recommend it. So again, guys, go check them out. Use that link in the description of today's video to make sure you get the best deal on the web. Next up, let's talk about excess fabric, in particular around the shoes. Excess fabric bunching up around the buttocks area around the leg line, and even in the lower back with your shirt. Now the good news, everything I just talked about most likely can be fixed by taking the clothing into a tailor. In fact, that first one, excess fabric around the hem, you can actually do this yourself. You can go out there and buy some hemming tape within an iron, and within a matter of minutes you can have this fixed. Or if you're a bit handy with a sewing machine, this one is a relatively easy fix you could do yourself. The same with the shirt. A lot of times you buy something off the rack, it fits you okay in the chest, but if you take care of your body, you go to the gym, you're going to find you just got all this excess material around the waist. Well, an easy fix here is to dart the shirt. And this is where with a bit of stitching, you bring in some of the fabric right there in the back and on the sides, and the result can be a shirt that looks like it was made for you. Now, what if you've lost some weight, or you just bought some trousers, they were on sale, but there's just too much material in the back and maybe even on the legs? Well, these fixes right here, again, relatively easy. They are going to be a little bit more time intensive though. So for that reason, I would either recommend taking it to a tailor, seamstress, or making sure you're handy with the sewing machine before you attempt. Now, how does excess fabric affect your confidence? Especially now some of you guys are seeing the style is actually wear clothing a little bit looser. Well, my thoughts on this are based off my experience. What I've noticed is a lot of guys that have lost weight, they continue to wear the baggy clothing because they don't know anything else. And a lot of these guys, despite having put time in the gym, simply aren't confident in their body. And in many ways, this seems to manifest itself by wearing clothing that hides the body. And you don't have to be a big guy for this to affect you. I know I was really skinny growing up, and I wore big baggy clothing because I thought it did a good job of hiding how skinny I was, and for some reason thought it made me look bigger. No, it didn't. And in fact, when you're a grown man trying to do this, it just makes you look insecure. So yeah, wear clothing that fits you and choose the right styles that work for your body type. The next style mistake is that you're not scheduling your haircut every 3 to 4 weeks. Instead, you're going 5 to 6 weeks. Oh, I need a haircut. You schedule it. You have to wait a week, maybe even 2 weeks to get into the barber you want to see. And what happens? Not only do you make it harder on the barber because they have to start from scratch, they actually don't have a form of what your hairstyle used to be, but there's also that period in which you're walking around and you know your hair is too long. You're not happy with the cut. You're not happy with the look. So gents, set this up. Make it a routine. Most places nowadays you can schedule well in advance. And since most of us guys are creatures of habit, yeah, we like to go to the same person. We like to get the same style of cut. And so make it a ritual. On the first Tuesday of every month at 4 p.m., you've got your appointment with the barber. And to make this even more foolproof, make sure when you get a great haircut that you actually have a video of that haircut with a couple pictures, different angles, that just in case you have to go to another barber, you could actually show them this. Because yeah, the worst thing that could happen, you are on a tight time frame, you get a bad haircut, and guys, yeah, that's going to sap away your confidence. Now, what about you guys out there with beards? So as many of you guys know, the key to having confidence with your beard is to pay attention to the lines. When it comes to facial hair, undefined lines create visual fuzziness and overall take away from your professional look. And if you're looking to grow a beard, understand that even growing a patchy beard, that's not a bad thing. Look at John Wick. No, the key here is to keep those edges clean, to keep it deliberate. The next mistake that's holding you back, flaky skin. So you can get this on your clothing. Oftentimes that's coming from the scalp. Changing up your shampoo, going with something that better moisturizes, something made specifically for dandruff. All that right there is going to help, but also paying attention to the skin on your face, to the skin on your neck. A lot of guys are surprised when they move up north and all of a sudden they got those dry winters, or they enter their 30s and all of a sudden that skin, they start flaking around the eyebrows, around the nose. Now the immediate fix here is to start using a facial moisturizer. You want to try to use a facial moisturizer, not just a general body moisturizer, because in general, facial moisturizers are made in a way to not clog up the pores, but you're going to probably want to experiment with a few different options out there. But another step to add to the routine, especially if you're dealing with a lot of flaking, is to introduce a facial scrub. On average, 2 times a week, a few days between each use, you want to use an exfoliator. It's going to help to remove the dead skin, and if used consistently and with a moisturizer, it should do a great job of helping to eliminate any flaky skin you're dealing with. Next up, let's talk about colors and patterns. So at some point, guys like to start introducing brighter colors into their wardrobe. I think one is fine. Past that, unless you are a clown, you do not want to be bringing in too many contrasting colors. It's just too much for the eye. It's going to draw in too much attention. And in general, the human brain, it prefers a bit of hierarchy. It likes to be able to make sense of what it's seeing. And getting back to the example of a clown, that's why they actually do wear all that high contrasting color. And it forces us to take notice, see them as the disruption that they are trying to be. Now, as a grown man, you rarely look to disrupt with your clothing, but if you are, maybe you're given a presentation, again, one small bit of color, maybe a pocket square that just draws attention to the chest, draws attention to you, if you're going to be up on stage. Maybe if you're a creative giving a presentation on Zoom, paying attention to your eyewear, going with a pair of yellow or red tinged glasses. But again, keep it simple, keep it to one. Similar with patterns. But a man can bring in a variety of patterns. He just has to make sure that they are of different sizes and of different widths. So wearing a striped shirt with a window pane jacket, maybe with a paisley pocket square and a polka dot tie, that's a lot of pattern, but technically it can be pulled off. My personal recommendation though, keep it simple. Don't try to overdo it, especially if you want to come off as confident. There's a reason the dark suit with the white shirt, with the red power tie, yeah, there's a reason a lot of guys wear it because it works. Next up, let's talk about faded out colors. They just look washed, they look worn. One, they can sap away the color from your skin, but in general, it just makes the clothing look old. We see this with black clothing that's no longer fully black, grays that are starting to patch, white shirts that are no longer white are starting to yellow. Guys, even if the stain is not visible, even if the discoloring is something most people won't even see, if you feel one person will see it, this can sap away your confidence, and that's why I highly recommend you inspect your clothing before you wear it. You don't want to try to throw something on and all of a sudden find the stain minutes before you got to get up on stage. And that takes me to the next style mistake I see a lot of guys making is that the clothing that they wear for the big moments in life, they are not used to wearing it. It is a costume. Now, in some cases, I get it. You're part of a wedding party and you are renting a tux. In that case, not much you can do about it except arrive early, make sure it fits you, and if you can get any adjustments done before, that'd be great. But oftentimes in life, we've got a little bit of time before we need to wear something. What I recommend here, if you are not comfortable either wearing a suit, you're not comfortable wearing this casual outfit, maybe you're bringing something new into your wardrobe, a hat, a new style of glasses, a cool watch. You've never worn a watch before. Well, give yourself a little bit of time to get used to it. Wear it around the house. Yes, in the case of hats, men have asked me, how do I start bringing a hat into my wardrobe? Well, simply wear it around your house. Why? Because when you get used to dressing a certain way, to wearing something, it becomes second nature. And when you step out of your house, you don't even notice that you've got it on. So maybe it's a sweater jacket, a new style of sneaker, it's boots, whatever the item you're trying to bring into your wardrobe, practice wearing it, because when you practice it, all of a sudden it becomes part of you, it becomes comfortable. Oftentimes our clothing is not really uncomfortable, it's unfamiliar. Once you become familiar with it, all of a sudden your confidence levels up and you're wearing it in a way that it's been part of your wardrobe, and people notice this, and you'll in a sense notice because all of a sudden you won't think about it. Now, this next mistake is a little bit more advanced, but it really can affect the way you feel about yourself. You're not leveraging your clothing's silhouette to maximize the way it can enhance your body. So a simple example is you're wearing a blazer. You don't wear it very often and you're just not used to it, and you never button that button. Even though you're walking around, you're standing, and even though you've got, a couple inches of excess fabric in there whenever you do button it, so it's not like it's tight, you're just not used to it. You're not comfortable, and unfortunately what you're losing here is the waist suppression. The way that this would actually build up your shoulders, build up your chest, and show the world that you actually spend time in the gym because you've got a great build. Because you don't have the habit of actually buttoning that jacket, you don't do it, even though the jacket is designed to fit on you and to show off your masculine build, because all you have to do is learn to wear the clothing properly. And this goes over to casual jackets as well. If you look on a lot of leather jackets, if they've got two zippers, the reason that's there, it allows the jacket to be worn in a very similar style to a structured button jacket. Basically, the bottom fifth you leave unzipped, you've got that second fifth zipped up, and then the top 3/4 you leave opened up. Again, what does this do on an unstructured jacket? It creates a V look, which overall, appearance-wise, gives a man more of a structured power look. All right, Jen, so all of those mistakes were about affecting your confidence. If you want more just style mistakes that, you shouldn't be making because they're going to just make you look bad, guys, I got you covered in this video. Boom, right here. Go check it out. Solid video. Promise, I cover a lot of things I did not cover in this video. So if you enjoyed this one, boom, go check this out.